When people talk about modern warfare, the focus almost always goes in one direction. Technology, advanced drones, precision missiles, digital systems, as if those are the deciding factors. But if you look at the actual battlefield, in places like Donetsk Oblast, especially around Pokrovsk, the reality looks very different. What's shaping the fight there isn't necessarily what's new, it's what has never been abandoned. Across multiple sectors, the front lines don't move much. Not because nothing is happening, but because every movement gets suppressed almost immediately. And the primary tool behind that pressure isn't high-end missile systems. It's artillery, sustained pressure, repeated strikes, constant disruption. At the center of this is a system worth paying attention to, Msta-S. At first glance, there's nothing extraordinary about it. It's not new. It's not cutting edge. But that's exactly the point. Russia isn't trying to make everything look modern. They're making sure it works consistently. A lot of people see systems like this and immediately label them as outdated. That's not wrong, but it's also not the full picture. Because what has changed isn't always the platform itself. What has changed is how it's used. Russia hasn't replaced this system, they've refined it. Gradually, no dramatic breakthroughs, no flashy upgrades, just steady improvements. Fire control systems have been enhanced, coordination has been streamlined, response times have been reduced, and most importantly, they've integrated something that didn't exist at this level before: drones. Artillery no longer operates blindly. There's constant observation from above. Targets are identified. Coordinates are transmitted. Fire is corrected in real time. The process is faster, more efficient. And suddenly, the same artillery system delivers a very different level of impact. Russia does have more advanced platforms, such as two S-35 Koalitsiya-S, longer range, higher rate of fire, greater automation. But interestingly, these are not the primary systems dominating the battlefield, because this war isn't about having the most advanced tool. What stands out instead is a different pattern. Russia doesn't rely on a single breakthrough system. They combine what already works with what can be improved. The focus isn't transformation, it's continuity at scale. This is where the advantage becomes visible. Russia is able to maintain sustained pressure, not just once, not just in isolated strikes, but continuously over time. And in this type of war, sustained pressure often matters more than precision alone. Now, looking at Ukraine, the picture becomes more complex. Ukraine operates a mix of systems, some inherited from the Soviet era, others supplied by Western partners. This creates advantages, especially in precision, but it also introduces complications. Each system comes with its own requirements. Different ammunition, different maintenance, different operational structures. On paper, this diversity can look like strength. In reality, under constant pressure, complexity can slow things down. In some sectors, Ukraine appears to be under heavy strain, not because it lacks capability, but because it's dealing with continuous pressure. Russia doesn't always aim for rapid breakthroughs. They apply force gradually, and they don't stop. The impact isn't always immediate, but it builds. One position disrupted, one supply route weakened, one unit forced to reposition, and it happens again and again. At this point, the pattern becomes clear. This isn't about a single weapon system. It's about a method. Russia hasn't abandoned older platforms. They've adapted them. At the same time, it's important to stay grounded. Ukraine is still holding, still fighting, and in many cases, still capable of striking back effectively. This is not a one-sided conflict. Beyond the military analysis, there's another layer. Areas like Pokrovsk are not just strategic points. They are populated regions. Civilians remain in the middle of this prolonged pressure, and they are the ones most affected by the constant cycle of strikes and counterstrikes. If we simplify everything down to one idea, Russian artillery remains effective not because it's advanced, but because it fits the war it's being used in. They didn't replace what works, they adapted it. And in this kind of conflict, adaptation often matters more than innovation. So maybe the real question isn't why older systems are still being used, but why so many underestimated them in the first place. If you're interested in this kind of analysis, focused, grounded, and looking beyond the surface, consider supporting the channel. Subscribe and stay with us as we break down the details that often get overlooked.